environments that both sides understand, the CMs and the PMs. Because why would a CM buy something they don't understand? Why would a PM expect to get what they want if somebody's buying it that doesn't understand it?
When you say forced, I'm not concerned. How are you going to...
Encourage.
How are you going to sort of measure your progress or performance on this? It's pretty decentralized, right? Everybody's chatting and conversing, but how do you know that sort of who's playing and who isn't?
Well, we can take some lessons from GSA Interact. That could be one. We could look at other things maybe that are out there like max.gov and see what works and what doesn't. So there are a lot of these things that have been tried, but there always seems to be something that's not enabling adoption. And we think that with a linked up kind of model, we would anticipate it would be a little, it might be less formal than some of the current communication modes right now, formal RFIs and things along those lines. And I think one of the big things is there's a lot of CMs and PMs out there that don't feel recognized. And one of the WIFMs, what's in it for me for the IPT members on the government side is we were thinking what would be great is this would be a way to generate opportunities, those who are working really well together, recognized like one of the Fed 100 awards or things along those lines, because a lot of people do want to do a good job, but they're not going to be recognized by putting the extra time or effort.
I'm channeling the sharks because I'm sensing that you guys like, okay, how does this help government do its job better? Why is having this kind of creating this kind of system? How does it help procurement?
Well, yeah. So
is that the question?
Let me build on that just a little bit. So to me, it sounds like the fundamental problem is COs and PMs just aren't talking. So we're offering them as a vehicle to have that communication that's open to industry.
Yes.
Should it be open to industry?
Well, I don't know. I mean, clearly, I think there's the bigger issue needs to be tackled. Probably if the what we're saying is that PMs and COs are not on the same page, and it's.
Well, I think it's also some just-in-time collaboration opportunities. They go to CMs, PMs, they go to training, and a lot of times it's CM training and it's PM training. They're not sharing best practices. They aren't necessarily even knowing who the CO is that they're going to be working with a lot. I think that this is one way for them to maybe more informally or more tacit way to develop those capabilities of learning how to talk with each other, what to expect from the other side of the office or what have you.
Question from out here. Yes. We coordinated when we addressed this.
Thanks for the call. It sounds like this sort of already exists on GovLoop. Could you go to them and say, hey, let's incubate it? I like the just-in-time collaboration. Thanks. Maybe that's your path, least resistance. Is see if they change.
And the GovLoop mentioned the check is in the mail. Thank you very much.
Well, I do think that there's probably systems that could be leveraged and extended, and GovLoop could be a great one. I think that there are a lot of platforms, FBO, or what was the, somebody in our team suggested the Federal Business Innovation Initiative, FFBI, or FBII, as a potential forum to take this further.
One more question for you guys?
Well, I have just a comment. I think that to develop a system like this, because we have poor communication on our acquisition team, is a waste of money. We should solve the communication problem first before we go into something.
I'm so glad you said that out loud.
Carolyn and James, thank you both very much. Nice work. Our fifth category is about knowledge transfer and management. And joining us are, oh my goodness, this is when people started adding. Evelyn Tendell, there you go. Are you going to yell at me like I did the other before? And Kimberly Perlia, there you go. Perlia. It's good I keep my day job. Thank you very much. Come on up.
Our name's about, so
Good afternoon. Our solution to address knowledge transfer challenges is to, from a both cross-generational and a transitional perspective, is to create a hive environment. So we're going to organize our worker needs into a hive, as opposed to a group think. The hive will focus on a cross-pollination of technical knowledge, acquisition expertise, and the most important component is diversity of thought. So we are looking to employ a number of tools and techniques, special assignments, shared workspaces, and also modern technology for acquisition training, because we want the knowledge to extend beyond any one acquisition professional, which is extremely important. And we are hoping that in the long term, we can extend potentially the acquisition hallway and not only have this information be able to be shared across agencies, but also have industry put some input into how these techniques have worked for our acquisitions and to potentially rank them so that we know which knowledge transfer ideas can sustain themselves and be extended and revamped over time. So the whole premise is that we are not inventing anything new, we are just expanding and making it better.
I'm interested in hearing more about the modern technology for acquisition training.
So what we were thinking about here was employing a lot of the things that are out in technology now, potentially YouTube videos, having those play a part in how you can train people. Because the biggest thing between the cross-pollination here is that you have a lot of people that have new innovative ideas, but they may not necessarily have the acquisition expertise to make sure that we're in line with acquisition regulations and all of the likes. We want to make sure that we're giving everyone an opportunity, which is the diversity of thought. So how do we reach all of those people in different ways? And it was a perfect example earlier, and Ron said, a podcast. So we just need to figure out ways to use all of the technology we have available, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those sources already provide us everything that we need. So this isn't creating anything new, it's just working smarter and not harder.
Taking the technologies that we currently have in place and really have a dashboard environment so that people really have a place to come, talk about challenges, talk about successes that they've achieved, ways that they were able to turn an acquisition around, things that, opportunities that came out of this Hive approach and cross-pollination. And then any agency can go in and look at those capabilities and have that center of excellence environment just as we use.
So you're not looking at this as being transparent to industry, correct? Right? This is more of internal government system.
It's actually a two-pronged approach, and the transparency to industry is more of a long-term approach. So this is something that you can execute now. Anyone in this room could take this approach and execute it because it's basically a training technique. So what you would do is you would have this internal to your agency, and then that way you're able to work out any kinks. You're also able to grade and rank based on leadership goals or management or however that works in the structure for evaluating the techniques and tools that are being used. And then you can take that and you can expand it so that there's conversations between agencies to use those and to leverage that knowledge, and then also so that you can go to industry and get feedback on how did that work. This is what we use for this procurement. Let's get industry to tell us how the process worked. Think of it more of like a Yelp, and you come back and give feedback and you can rank agencies that way.
And by being able to actually have a reporting system involved, you can incentivize to the people who are actually leaving government. In the next few years, you can incentivize them to be a part of wanting to share the current knowledge that they have, as well as looking at ways to bring junior people up through the training process much faster in a mentorship environment.
That's the point I was happy to address. When I hear knowledge transfer, indeed, I think succession planning, I think workforce transition, I think how do you get the next generation up to speed, especially in the mobile environment. Can you expand on some of those things?
Well, I would say from my perspective, being in government, one of the things that we have in the federal workforce employment surveys, a lot of what people say is that they want to have a purpose, have a role, feel like they're making a difference. And this cross-pollination provides people that opportunity so that they're staying engaged and they feel like they are being able to contribute into the direction the agency is moving into, leadership is hearing people out, and then that way you're able to really groom and invest in those people so that there is that mentorship capability, because we have that in the special assignments. You can do rotations, you can do shadowing events, you can have mentoring, you can do leadership development, because all of those things don't focus on a specific position, they focus on the person.
And you put the data out in any kind of medium that the workforce really absorbs. So whether it's a YouTube video or whether it's a podcast or whether it's a blog or a data set, it doesn't really matter. It's the activity is getting all of the lessons learned, all of the products, resolutions are getting to the people who need that knowledge to actually rise in their own positions.
So this is a toolkit of practices that you'd be putting together for agencies to focus on, correct?
Yes.
Yes, a center of excellence, yeah, much like you would do in Promenade.
How are you going to get the supervisors to give their folks time to take advantage of all these opportunities?
Well, so part of our team thought about a really, really great report card, which is one of those things that we wrote down here, and actually being able to write out what those requirements look like and measure not only the management teams, but the people who are participating in being able to adopt it. Because one thing that we recognize is far from the change. In order for it to affect change, we have to build in some of these incentives, whether it's financial, promotion, Fed 100, all of these kinds of things. So some kind of report card reporting system that allows us to really look at the data and see what's happening.
And the report card provides perspective as well, because if someone's bringing this idea to the table, they want the opportunity to not only be heard, but you also want to, quote unquote, get credit and incentives, and you want to be recognized for those ideas as well. So if that report card method comes from sort of a performance evaluation, these things are already in our performance plan, so you're really just taking those concepts that are in that plan, and you're giving a whole nother level of recognition, of investment, and of some sort of incentive that would be back in Luke packages, not just the rating.
Included the report card?
The report card will be available, so in the agency structure, the report card will be available. So for every knowledge transfer tool or technique from an acquisition, there will be a report card rating that goes along with that in the system. So if I were to come back and take a look at that site, and I said, oh, I want to use something similar like this, how did it work out? How did it work out from that acquisition professional's perspective? So that would be not only the CO and the CS, but also the program manager, and then also from a supervisor perspective, because everyone has different goals and a different vision.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Question from out here. Oh, hi. I have to say, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really impressed. I mean, this is an hour of ideas, and everyone's done a great job. Over here.
It's not really a question. I just want to address the statement which says, how do you get the supervisor to buy in? Well, this is a tool that's helping the supervisor, because part of the supervisor's job is to train and develop. So if you send your person out and they get knowledge and they come back and they're going to make your job easier.
That's right. Amen, girl.
One other question from out here? Yeah. Come over here.
Sounds like that question was planned.
There was no plan.
So are you part of the team?
Yes, she was.
She is a part of the team.
Silent investor.
I think you touched something very important, and that is, what is my incentive as a person going out of the service to train somebody? And you talked about incentives and stuff, so that if there's something for me at 65 years of age, I might hang out a couple of more years and train these guys.
Yeah, the last
You don't look a day over 63, by the way.
The last thing got it right. What's in it for me, right? Everybody asks what's in it for me. And I think the biggest thing is that where you sit determines what you see. Where you sit depends. That's going to determine what you want as an incentive. Some people are motivated by financial. Some people are motivated by challenges in new positions. Some people are motivated by promotions, awards, etc. And so the incentive programs can really be based on what an agency can palliate from a financial perspective, but really putting together an incentive that works for multiple people as opposed to just the almighty God.
Awesome job. Very nice. Evelyn and Kimberly. Last but not least, improving sections L and M. Joining me up here are Monique Mitchell, yeah, there you go, Mitchell, and Kurt Coate. Cody.
All right, so listen to how ridiculous this is. We spend 6 weeks writing eval criteria and instructions. A dozen vendors spend 500 hours each interpreting that and writing proposals. We spend 3 months evaluating and interpreting their proposals, and at the end of all that time and all of that expense, we don't really understand each other. If you have a need, and if I have a solution, we should talk. Our idea is dialogue-based sourcing.
Dialogue-based sourcing is a game-changing approach to acquisition, contracting, and procurement. And this is a model of how it works. We can talk about this more in detail, but how does it change the game? You have conversations that lead to bids versus proposals leading to discussions. You have the right people in the room on the onset, the technical people from the government and from industry at the onset. this process is also iterative and incremental, and it starts very broad and narrows down. The main thing is everything is oral, everything is a conversation, dialogue based. From your industry day to a niche group to one-on-ones with the contractors, which will eventually lead to your source selection being oral. And you can go right to award, or you can have more one-on-ones. It's just about getting the conversation and answering the
What do you think?
questions.
Match.com on the floor, huh?
Yeah, baby. How do you get, that's hot, don't turn me on. I'm gonna let you handle that, Tim. All right, how do you get from, because lots of companies are gonna have a conversation, how do you get from the conversation level to this, if I can read that correctly, the select group? Because those are the people, if I read that correctly, that want to do business. So how do I get there?
We get there by a checklist,
I can't read that.
I know, I'm sorry. That's fine. A data-driven pre-qualification, basically a checklist that sets the criteria and it's the minimum requirements. Do you meet this? And if you do, then you're invited to sit at the table with us, which comes to our select group.
So it's objective, right? There's no room for interpretation at this down select. Either you meet the criteria, if you meet it, if you don't, you didn't have it.
With everything being oral, is anything transcribed? How are responding to protests?
There,
Not allowed. Yeah, protest not allowed, I like that.
Jeff, if you could write a piece for us, that would help. So after you have your dialogue, right, you would have to put something down on paper for the contracting officer's file. You know, from a protest standpoint, I think the key thing here is, everybody's on equal footing, right? As long as you're sharing all information and it's clear what information you're not sharing, you don't share that with anybody. As long as you're following the rules and everybody has an equal playing field. As protest-proof as something can be, this would be.
and even though everything is oral, of course, we all have a contract file. So there is documentation involved in this, the final proposals, the proprietary information. It's oral to have the conversation, to answer the questions, to save time and to save money, but there is written documentation. The written documentation just won't have to be in-depth because we've had the conversation. It can be a little more high-level.
Do we keep records? I don't know, and this is kind of a question for you, but maybe even some of the panel members. Do we even keep records on how many people or how many companies are actually tossed out of the competitive range on average? I mean, as a percent, do we have quite a few? Not so many.
I know personally in writing your memos, your P&Ms, your records memo, you normally state, who all your offers were when you down selected, who the competitive range were, so that information is available.
And if I, as a vendor, am out of the competitive range and I really don't have a chance of winning, it would do my business a favor if I didn't have to spend those 500 hours writing a proposal that, I'm not going to.
How do you keep this conversation real and not slick marketing materials and, hey, I can do this, or how do you actually see the team that's going to perform work? How does that understand?
So when we get to the one-on-ones, we actually set our evaluation criteria. So we don't completely throw L&M out the window because there is some benefits to section L&M, even though they are a pain in the butt. So we will have our evaluation criteria, and that's when I said getting the right people in the room. A lot of times we get smoothed now because when we have our meetings, they send their best salespeople. I don't want to talk to your salespeople. I want to talk to your technical experts, to your subject matter experts who are talking to the government's technical teams to make sure the right questions are being asked and that we get appropriate answers. So that's making sure we have the right players at the table is how we plan to avoid that.
I think we know how to do oral presentations. We don't always do it well. At times we do. But the piece that's new to me in this is the oral competitive range phase. So within that, let me go back to the same question. And expand it. Do we have to have our people together? Can we use mobile technology? And how do we not just get a bunch of slick salespeople in to get through the competitive range?
Yeah, I think I don't think you necessarily have to have people together as long as you have mobile technology that lets you have an open dialogue. The salesperson question, if you're talking to a salesperson, right? They have a certain spiel that's very polished and is a lot more eloquent than I could ever be. And you also know when you're talking to a subject matter expert, because you as somebody that meets a requirement can ask me a detailed technical question, and either I can answer it and I give you confidence that I can perform the work, or I don't answer it and I'm out of the competitive range.
You got a question from, yeah, go ahead, finish up.
What uses the competition expecting 3 bids and the competition expecting 500 bids?
Well, that's the whole point of these checklists, these pre-qualifications. So therefore you have a select group. So it avoids having the 500 bids because you're only going into your one-on-one conversation with those 20 out of the 500. Or maybe 100 out of the 500 to be a little more realistic. But that is the whole point of having the qualifications checklist, inviting you to the table and getting rid of a large pool, because the reality is we have sometimes 300 to 500 vendors depending on the nature of the requirement.
Just a little aside, the House just passed the DHS fund. So. That's not coming out of your time, so. Yeah, back here. Watch, now the Senate will hold it up.
Just kind of a question for the Sharks. You seem very worried about the business development guy at the Orals, but you're not worried about somebody outsourcing the entire proposal that was written by somebody else completely?
How dare you talk about it? Sharks are now eating other sharks. It's just mayhem. Another question? Is there another question out here? Oh, of course, all the way in the back. Thank you. I went all that way. You can come out this way.
Just another idea is you can only have key personnel present, so they're committing to being on the project.
That's a great idea.
Somebody way over here asked a question.
Jeff is GSA's speed and also the protesting officers. There are no protests for Jeff to be out of the job.
He has no comment at this time. Yeah, one more. Are you part of the team? No, you're not part of this team. Of course not. You're part of this. Should be a good question. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, how do you validate between the point where you're having oral presentations and the award actually starts to make sure that either the requirements aren't shifted or what the contractor has promised doesn't change?
Well, that's why when we go to our one-on-ones, and that's where we discuss more of the in-depth, the innovative ideas, more of their proprietary information, and at that time they also provide us with cost and pricing information, and that's where at that time they are one-on-one conversations, but then we'll give them a chance based on our conversations to submit a final proposal so that we have a basis to validate and to hold the contractor accountable, and we have to have that contract compiled so that we have everything in writing.
Awesome job, guys. Thank you. Very good. Of course, we talk about funding for DHS for the rest of the year. There's only 6 months left, so it's really but whatever. We're happy it's more than a week, right? All right, you guys go discuss them. You can go over there, or we'll go discuss them.
Make sure you turn our mics.
Yeah, turn your mics on.
This is the super secret Shark Tank.
Let's congratulate these guys. And then you walk. And all you contracting folks who raised your hands earlier, all these ideas, talk to them, and they're more than willing to hand them off to you in our favorite effort, free. So there you go. Go and the other thing, Ann passed me at 4:15 in the presentation zone. Am I getting this? She'll scream at me if I'm wrong, right? They're doing an acquisition of the future, how shift happens. Missed it by that much. Looking at how to use the AOF transformation guide. Did I say that right? OAF transformation guide? There you go. To make innovations like these real, how to make them happen. Anne Laurent and Peggy Alfonso of OAF and ASI Government will be there. So there you go in the presentation zone. And that's during the networking session. So there you go. You get to take a beverage and go back and do that. All right. 4:15, right after we're done. So now's your chance to, well, yeah, am I missing something else? No, we're okay? All right. Got a lot of people coming at me, all right. Now's your chance. You guys get to decide who is the fish favorite. And which one of these ideas was the best. Oh, there they all are, market intelligence, acquisition of the future. Do you guys remember them all? It's hard to think back to the first one. And you go on the app. Where do they go on the app? Under surveys, thank you. What? No survey? If the phone's not working, what happens then? You raise your hand? Well, we'll do a raise your hand too. Yes. I don't know. The phone doesn't work. There you go. Oh, it's not working? It's out. All right, we're going to do a raise your hand. How like 1980s is this? Team number one, stand up so they can remember your faces. There you go. Oh yeah, market intelligence, right? You got it? It's her birthday. Oh man. So team number one, if you thought team number one, they were talking, give me 5 words on describing your idea.
Okay.
We're looking at combining category management.
I just turned 29.
Those are long words, but there you go. According to the PPP process. If you thought their idea was the best, give me a hand.
I was in Catholic school. I do know where resolution
7, calling it 10. Okay. Team number 2, acquisition of the future was, there you go. A sentence on the real elevator pitch, not even like 10 seconds.
Oh, it's good to see you too.
Workplace as a service gives
Work.
an position for functionals access, secure access to the right data at the right time.
There you go. Nice job. If you thought that was the best idea, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
10, 11, 12.
Lower barriers, third team. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sentence.
Consolidate agency forecasts into a single portal. Use a challenge to do it.
There you go. Who thought this was the best idea? 1, 2, a lot of people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're going to call it like 25, all right? 25, 30, is that good? They were more than you, sorry. Lift up, you guys stand up and, yeah, give us your elevator pitch.
Lift up, reinventing the IPT, collaborative social media tool for the government.
Yeah, there you go. And industry, right. If you thought that was the best of the ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we know what. We'll give you a 10. Knowledge transfer. That was Evelyn and Kimberly. Give me a sentence.
Create a beehive environment focusing on diversity of thought, technical knowledge, and acquisition.
Awesome. We thought this was. Whoa! Oh my goodness! I exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Wow! 23, 24, 25, 26, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, or 7. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 52. There you go, 52. You got it. Nice job. Wow. And Kurt and Monique, improving L&M. Give us a sentence.
Dialogue-based sourcing, meaningful conversations between government and industry.
Goodness, look at that. It's going to be close. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're holding up 2 hands. That doesn't count. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 40, 45, 46, 47, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. There you go. In terms of thinking outside the box, they have to get to start with thinking outside the box. So we'll see who it's close. This is all fun, right? You guys all did awesome. We'll see how I want to put in my word for the guys who did this, because I think the this is different. and it's not doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We're trying different things and coming up with different ideas, and I'm not sure we'd ever be talking about any of these ideas at a just normal kind of conference. So kudos to you guys. Woo, woo, woo. It's not always easy to do, so we're going to see how they're doing. Go and poke them. Poke the sharks. Yeah, go. You guys ready? Yeah. Yeah, they're already at the bar. My goodness, they're gone.
That wasn't an idea actually at the
So do you all have this dark sky app? This is my new favorite app, and it actually caches into your location and tells you what the weather is right there, and it's amazing because I walk my dogs a lot, and so like right now it says drizzle starting in 7 minutes and stopping 12 minutes later. So there you go. Dark sky, it's really awesome. There you go. All right, time. There you go. So we'll be okay getting there. We should all, somebody's check the Capital weather game and see what we're going to do Thursday. Do you guys have any announcements that you want to make?
Just really quick, after this, we're going to have a couple more feature presentations in the feature presentation area. We want to thank, really quick, Chris Dorbeck for facilitating this session. Exactly. So there's a couple more feature presentations. There's also going to be networking with, I believe, food and drink afterwards. It's a great time to really cap off the day and expand your network and potentially for your careers. So that's one of the most important things that about today, and our keynote speakers have talked about that.
Kudos to doing such an awesome job. Are you happy?
I am extremely happy, and I want to, Mary, stand up. I think one of the...
This isn't easy to do in the best of times, and when you're like, you were supposed to lose funding on Friday, it makes it, there were a couple curveballs thrown your way.
Yeah, so the planning committee went to church together on this past Sunday and said a bunch of prayers, and look what happened.
And Boston got all the snow. It was awesome. Oh, here they go. All right.
All right, really sharp.
Thank you. Thank you. Look, they look so serious, don't they?
And we're invested money, come on. There you go. We pay the
Your microphone.
I'm standing. Yeah, that's it. We're done. So, first of all, we want to say, listen, you guys did a phenomenal job. Each one of the teams and the presenters, what a phenomenal. So stand up, let's give stand up. We all noticed was we were tossing out questions to you, and you're thinking on your feet, trying to think deeper than you probably already had a chance to on some of these things, so you did a great job. But let's cut to the chase. So what we collectively looked at were both long-term and short-term gains that we get from your ideas, and I will tell you that there was one that stood out as there's real potential there long-term if we can crack this nut, and that is the number 2, the one that we had the data gathering, or the consolidated data. You stand right up here.
I forget, there's something, we're going to work on this idea and take it to MOC. Is that what we're going to do? I almost fell off the stage.
Okay, so we've got an honorable mention.
Yeah, hold on. There, you guys hold the chart. You guys all stand there and wait for us.
I blame. Wow. Congratulations.
All right, the honorable mention.
Yep, so our honorable mention, we wanted to toss to Team 6. We think that there's some very good short-term potential there, so a couple of us are kind of interested in trying to exercise that. Stand up, stand up, stand up.
And they won the fan favorite, by the way. You were in the other room. They won the fan favorite. And my comment to that is, wow, thinking outside the box. I mean, it's just awesome thinking outside the box. So really, really great. Nice job. Nice job, Sharks. Didn't they do great?
How about for after
Awesome. Thank you guys for doing this. Yes, do you want more to say?
We're not filming.
Drink. There you go. Have fun. Nice work today, guys.